Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending from wherever you're joining us in the world today. You're welcome. Welcome to Startup Grind Jos, Startup Grind Nigeria, Startup Grind Africa. You're welcome to Startup Grind. Today's event is going to be a training, it's going to be a workshop, and we have a very special guest in our midst. For the very first time today, we are featuring an international speaker who is going to be sharing tips for us live from the United States of America. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us, even as we bring to you Mr. Errol Olton, the founder of the Resume Tailor from New York City. Is going to be our special guest on the show today, and is going to be speaking and training on rebranding your career with confidence. Errol Olton, are you there?
I'm here. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, Errol, I can see you and I can hear you perfectly. Welcome, 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 welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited. I'm excited to be here, man. I've been thinking about this all week long. I've been waiting. I've been counting it down.
It's good to finally have you. It's such a pleasure. Thank you for joining us on Startup Grind today. I'm sure you got some very loaded information for us.
Yeah, I have a lot of exciting information for folks looking to rebrand their careers or rebrand their businesses. It's really challenging time. So I'm really excited. I'm ready to go, man. I'm ready to go.
Excellent. So let's do this. A little background on Startup Grind. Startup Grind is a global community for entrepreneurs. And what we do is to hold in-person events in about 600 chapters and 125 countries of the world. But as a result of the ongoing global pandemic, we have decided to move our events from in-person to virtual. And that's why we are able to do this today. So that's Startup Grind. The headquarters is in Silicon Valley, very close to where you are. And, you know, in Nigeria, we've been existing for like 5 years. In Jos City, where we are hosting you from, we have been having our events for the past 2 years. And this is our 19th edition. But interestingly, you are the very first international speaker. And so this is a very special
event.
Wow.
This is my first time in Africa.
Yeah, welcome to Africa.
Thank you, man. Thank you. You know, it was on my goals this year. I said to myself, all right, for my birthday in September, so everybody that's joining in, remember my birthday's in September. For my birthday in September, I said I was going to be in some part of Africa, and then the crisis, this worldwide crisis happened. I said, well, how am I going to get to Africa? And because of you, because of all of you, I'm here. So I'm there virtually today. I'm happy. And globally.
Welcome. Welcome to Nigeria.
Yes.
Welcome to the motherland.
Yeah, I made it. I made it to the motherland. I'm happy, man.
And we can't wait to have you here physically, you know, sometime in the future, you know. You need to come home, bro. You need to come and feel of what it feels like to be in Africa.
I can't wait. So when I plan my trip, when things resume probably next year, I hope to be on a little bit of a tour and meet not only you, but some of the folks that are in here today. You know, I'm really excited about that. I can't wait. Coming to the motherland.
Yeah, come to the motherland, and it's gonna be our pleasure to host you. All right. So the Resume Tailor. I can see people coming in from all over the world. I want to quickly acknowledge some of our attendees. Accord Dorothy, thank you for joining us. Apollos Grace, thank you for joining us. Daudu Prosper, SL Gene Ebzifba, J. Carlos, Rhoda Amapa, Cabo, Shazi, Wilson Olaya. Thank you guys for joining us for today's training. The resume tailor is in the building.
Yeah.
All the way from NY, the Bronx.
NY, New York City. Yes.
New York City. New York City, from New York City to Nigeria, we're connecting.
Couldn't wait, man. I couldn't wait. This is exciting. Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to the people also that are trickling in. We're here across the world. I think that's really, really major that, you know, it's an honor also to join Startup Grind because, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm in that space, you know, and so, you know, we're all facing, as we'll get into, we're all facing, you know, similar challenges, similar struggles, and there's only opportunities ahead. So it's exciting for me to join you all. This global connection. I'm thankful for technology. I'm thankful for Startup Grind. I'm thankful for everybody that's here today, and they're here today because they want to get ahead. They want to get ahead. They want to reposition their careers. They want to reposition their businesses. So I'm with it. I'm happy to join.
Yeah, and you are the man to give us the tips and the strategies to take us to the next level. I was talking with a friend of mine a couple of days ago, and when I told him about your company, the Resume Tailor, the first thing was like, is he a tailor? You know, like, and I'm like, man, tailor, like a fashion designer. And I had to let him know, no, this guy is not into fashion, but rather he tailors resumes. He's into career coaching. And can you just tell us more about yourself and your company, what you do?
Yeah, sure, Mayuka. I'm really happy to share this story. So I spent the past 10 years working in the Bronx community, transforming lives. So I've worked with youth in terms of like in a school and developing positive culture. And then that work expanded into creating an adult education program that I created from scratch, you know? So we had little money, little funding, and that was my first bit of entrepreneurial start, you know? So after creating those programs, I developed programs that put folks back into work, put folks, you know, to the next level of their education, strengthened families, and promoted healthy lifestyles. So from that, you know, after I left that school and left building that wonderful program, I started the Resume Tailor, and I'll tell you why I chose the word tailor. I chose the word tailor because when it comes to your career, whether it's your resume, whether it's a cover letter, whether it's your LinkedIn, or anything that's part of your career story, each and every one of us has the power to tailor it to the story that represents the best versions of ourselves. So when I work with each client, whether I'm working with them for an opportunity or whether I'm sharing my monthly newsletter that I encourage everybody to sign up for, I'm always putting us into the position where we can tailor our own careers, tailor it towards success. So that's where the tailor comes from. So through Resume Tailor, do career coaching, business development, and also working on folks' career documents. And I just put out tips, anything that's going to help people move to the next level of themselves. So that's some of the background for me in the Resume Tailor.
That's so amazing. That's so amazing. So you've been working in the education sector for a while. You started an education program that helped adults to earn their diplomas, their college diplomas, and to get jobs. Wow, wow. And then now what you're doing is helping people to tailor their resumes. That's so exciting.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
It's helping people get into that next level of themselves, you know, because, and, you know, I'll jump into this in a moment, but each of us has a story. Each and every one of us has a story, and each and every one of us has the power to shape and craft that story. So creating the Resume Tailor allows me the opportunity to bring the gifts that I know, also as a former job recruiter, you know, and you know, director of programs, to take all of that information I know and give it out as value to anybody, any and everybody. So, you know, it's an honor to find this space today to even share some of that knowledge.
All right, so give it to us. Give it to us what you got for us. We have quite a number of people. I can see Dauda Prosper, you're welcome. Elton Kwa, you're welcome. Gabriel James, you're welcome. Sam Semako Jinodu, That's our guest that we had him on the show 3 days ago. And he's also a mentor to Startup Grind Jos. You're highly welcome, sir. Titi Lokpe Joel, welcome. Thank you for joining us again. Shegun Bamidele, you are highly welcome. You guys are all welcome to today's edition of Startup Grind Jos with the resume tailor, Errol Olton. Mr.
Yes,
Errol, all these people are here to listen to you.
No pressure at all. No pressure at all, right?
They want to learn what it takes to rebrand their careers with confidence.
Yes. So what I'll do is I'll start to, let me see if I can pull up I have a little presentation for us folks to just get us started along the way, all right? So I'm just gonna take a second to just pull it up and just restart everything.
Okay.
And so let's see if I can share it with you now. And then Mayo can tell me if you can see it on behalf of everybody. And also I saw in the chat, somebody said, welcome to Nigeria, Errol. So I appreciate that. Here we go.
Cool. I can see your screen.
You can see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay. Alrighty, so thanks everybody definitely for joining us. And today, as you know, you're here because you want to rebrand your career, you want to rebrand your business with confidence. And I'm happy to share that and spread that good word to you. So we're going to go over a couple of logistics. First things first, the resume tailor, and we spoke about this just now. In terms of what I provide. I'm here based out of New York City, and that's just my physical location, but when it comes to resources, when it comes to helping you boost into the next level of you, I'm worldwide, I'm global. So, all of my resources are available to you. Make sure that you follow it. I'll make sure that at the bottom of some of the slides I have my website, and you can sign up for a newsletter. And every month, you get to figure out ways to move your career to the next level, whether it's a job tip or performance tip or how to get better at work. And so let's jump in. We're gonna engage a bit. In this webinar. So one of the things that I love to do is use a couple of features that it comes with. So I believe we have the raise hand feature. And so here's what I want you to do, just to set some norms here. If you're agreeing with something I said, or maybe I have a question and I want to know if it's going well with you or if you understand, I'm going to ask you to do the raise hand feature, right? Or if I'm saying a topic that's really engaging and you're like, yes, that's right on point. Since I can't see you, I can probably see the raise hand appear up on my screen so then I would know. So let's practice that. I don't know if I can see it just as well as Mayoka. And if you guys could just right now press the raise hand feature so I can see if it pops up on my screen. And Mayoka, if it pops up on your screen, you let me know.
Yeah, it's popping up. I can see lots of people raising their hands right now.
Okay, it's not popping on mine. So we're gonna probably, Mayoka, let me know if people are really agreeing on a certain point sometimes. And then if you have a question, right, we have an ask a question feature. And so, yes, we have a chat where you can post comments. Maybe in the chat, you can let me know if I made a great point or, or you like the direction we're going. So use that chat for that. But if you have a question, use the ask question feature, because at the end, maybe I can answer a couple of questions along the way. Definitely answer a couple of questions along the way. So let's get started. We're talking about rebranding your career. All right. So we're talking about rebranding your career, but you're here because you read that whole paragraph about it, right? Rebranding your career and your business. And my goal is to get you to see that if this is the perfect time to consider making this next move in your life. Okay. So the reality is, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time, talking about the negatives of it, but the reality is we, in this very moment, are existing in a challenging time period where we are in a global pandemic. There is a mood across the world of survival, and there's a lot of negativity right now because it's really sad of what's going on. But in every obstacle, throughout every obstacle, there are opportunities. And here's what I want to tell you. There's the opportunity right now to leverage this time for you. You see, the global pandemic has reshaped all the sectors, all the workforce sectors and society and government as we know it. Things are no longer the same. And so we're watching, whether it's a news report, whether it's our political leaders, whether it's industries going out of business, we're watching as folks are going along that society is shifting. And if we're not careful, if we don't shift with it, if we don't respond to it accordingly, then we might find ourselves on the losing end of this. And I can't have that, right? So today we've got a bunch of entrepreneurs, we have business leaders, we got employees, employers, everybody is here to find out ways that we can rebrand our careers, right? So going through this, right? When we talk about rebranding our careers, we have to think first about the environment that we're in, right? And I told you that right now you could either perform and get ahead or fall behind. And this can happen whether it's your business or whether you're seeking a new business idea for the next level of you. But if we're going to talk about rebranding, we need to start first talking about what is a brand, right? And let me see if I can use the little pointer up here. Let's see, my pointer. Go with it. Right. So we're talking about, right, rebranding our career. So you have to talk about what is a brand. And a brand on the business level, right? And when we're talking about employees, right, we know popular brands like Pepsi or Coca-Cola, right? You know, brands like airline industries and different, even the computer you on, and probably the reason why you selected it is because it represents a brand, right? Even when we're looking at things like the iPhone or, Android for my Android people, right? It's all about a brand, and we buy these products because we trust the brand. So right now, if you don't have a pen and paper, I need you to get one. Or I need you to take your phone and open up the notes app because you have to take notes. What identifies a brand is how they behave and how they operate, whatever their vision is. If the brand says, my vision is to provide quality service to my customers, whether I'm an airline industry or maybe a food agency, whatever it is, you have to think about the value you're offering others, but it also, how folks look at you is through your actions. They look at you through your behaviors and through the value that you provide their lives, right? That is what you're known for as a business. Now I'm gonna talk to my entrepreneurs, right? Or folks looking to level up into the next level themselves. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you when we talk about your brand as a person, right? So let's use me for example. We have the Resume Tailor, and my brand is excellence and moving your career to the next level. But who am I, Errol Olton, behind that? Well, I am a person that's passionate, and you can tell my passion by how I talk. I am driven. I produce results. These things, my actions, my behaviors represents the brand of me, right? It's your demeanor. It's how you show up at your job. The skills you use, right? Are you able to get the job done when your boss gives you the job, a task to do? Do you always come in on time, right? What represents the brand of you? So I want you to start to think of that, right? Either at the business level or that employee level, right? Because branding makes sense in that level. So one of the things we noticed is brands were tested during the pandemic. Your personal brand, your business brand was tested during this pandemic because this pandemic exposed everybody's vulnerabilities and weak areas. And probably if a business didn't have an ability to shift right now in the market, it exposed your vulnerabilities because that's what pressure does, right? So pressure and pandemic really exposes you in those circumstances. So check this out. I love this quote by Warren Buffett. Warren says, only when the tide goes out, you discover who's been swimming naked, all right? And so think about that. When you're in the water, when you're in the beach, when you're taking, the lake or whatever, and that tide goes out and it's low tide, then everything's exposed, right? So the pandemic showed us our vulnerabilities, right? It showed us areas that we could grow in. It showed us areas that we weren't as strong in. It showed us who we were as businesses and people. And what I want you to know is that, don't fear and get nervous right now and say, oh my gosh, these things are going wrong. Remember, and I want you to write this down, throughout every obstacle, there is an opportunity. And I'll say that again. In every obstacle, there is an opportunity. And you can choose what you want to see. Matter of fact, if we could just post that quote in the chat, that would be great, right? Throughout every obstacle, there's always an opportunity. And so the reason you're here today is to discover new opportunities about yourself. So here's what I want you to focus on. How do you add value? How do you? Think about it. How do you add value? If you're an employee, you add value to your job. You could say 80% of your actions. Let me see. Hold on a second, folks. I want to make sure I get my Yokin in here. Let me just pause. I want to make sure. I think my guy left a little.
Yeah, but I'm back.
You're back?
I'm back.
All right. We got Mayokin back. We got you back. Happy to have you back.
Thank you, Errol. Glad to be back.
Thank you. Good. And it also allowed me a chance to pull up my chat. My chat had disappeared, so now I could see what folks are writing. So if folks are writing, if you want to write comments along the way, you can use the comment box or the chat box. But if you want to write questions, you know where to put it. So we've got the 80-20 rule. It basically says 80% of, it could go either way, right? 80% of your actions could represent the 20% of that product. Or if you flip it around, you can say this, right? In business, they say that 20% of your consumers or your customers provide 80% of the revenue. You have some big customers that's providing the bulk, right? We see it in organizations, right? But here's what I want you to do. I want to reshape how we look at the Pareto principle, okay? And I want us to focus on two aspects. I want us to focus on the value as well as the value in terms of employees and the values in terms of businesses. So we're saying that if you're an employee, right, if you're thinking about getting ahead, and I'm talking to the people right now, I'm talking to you, if you're a business owner, that if you're thinking a business idea, not owner, if you have a business idea, if you have thoughts, if you're an entrepreneur on the grind, on the come up, right? You're in Startup Grind for a reason. I need you to start thinking about your value that you give to yourself in this 80% way, right? 80% of your value, 80% of the time that you spend needs to be focused on you, increasing value. So what does that mean? And I'll show you in a bit. It means, though, investing in your personal and professional development. Investing. Somebody said, I just read about this yesterday. Excellent, right? It's about investing in you. So right now, if you're home and you're thinking of a business idea, or maybe you're studying in school or whatever it is, I want you to invest in you. And I'm going to show you ways that you got to do it. Because right now, in the middle of this pandemic, right, you can choose to sit at home and catch up with some really great shows, or you can blend some of that. I'm not knocking you if you got to do that, right? You can blend some of that with developing yourself personally during this time. You know, taking courses and advancing yourselves, but I'm going to jump into that. If you are in the business sector, because I recognize that we have two groups here. If you are in the business sector, you have to think about 80% of value needs to go to your customers. So I'm not talking about personal development now. We're talking about that professional business lens. It has to go to your customers. What value are you providing to your customers during this time? Are you asking them to buy more of your product because times are hard? Are you seeing your sales go down, so it's forcing you to post on Instagram and social media or send newsletters asking for folks to buy your product? People are going through a hard time. They're trying to save their money. And so if you're a business, you're struggling under this pressure. This pressure of the pandemic is causing you to say, well, I don't want to hit up folks for more money, but I need it for my business to survive. Remember, when the tide goes out, that's when we discover who was swimming naked, right? Was your business finances strong to begin with? How long can it last before your business has to liquidate? So right now, I'm here to point you in a different direction, that if you're looking to keep your customer base, if you're looking to develop your business and perform under this time and seize the opportunity, you're going to have to go with value. And let's talk about that, right? When we're talking about rebranding, you have to shift the brand that you had, okay? That's why that re is in another color. Here's what I mean by that. You cannot keep doing what you've always done during changes times. For another way of saying it is, unprecedented times call for unprecedented actions. In order to survive with the changing times, you have to change. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, expecting the same results, right? If you're not happy with your results, you have to change, all right? So when we talk about ourselves, our career development, I want you to look at it in this way. This is the perfect time. Oh, I see somebody raise their hand. I can see the raised hands now. So if you're agreeing along the way with what I'm saying, give me those raised hands. It represents a thumbs up for me. Perfect. Now I see them. Perfect. So as we look at rebranding ourselves, we're going to come to the businesses, right? Think about this. This is your time to get ahead. We're home, especially in New York. We're quarantined. They're telling us to stay home. I can't wait to go outside. I'm losing my mind in the house. However, I'm going to seize the opportunity in the midst of the obstacle, right? So look at this here. Take an online course. This is your time to take an online course. People think that when we talk about advancing our careers, it means we always have to re-enroll in school. You can re-enroll in school in a better and cheaper way right now, virtually, on the same computer that you're on right now. Matter of fact, the fact that you're in Startup Grind means that you value self-development. The fact that you're here today. That's the truth of it. You're here for that reason. You're here because you have something burning inside of you wanting more. You're here because you have a business idea that you're waiting to birth and get out. You're here to seize an opportunity. And I'm telling you ways that you can seize more. Take an online course. There's courses at Coursera. I listed it right there on the slide. edX and LinkedIn Learning. They may cost you a little bit of money, but it is nothing in compared to the cost of college or university tuition. So you save, right? Because at the end of the pandemic, you want to be able to come out with a certificate from an online course saying, hey, I now know these skills for my job. My job requires me to know Microsoft Excel. I took an online course in it, and I know how to do it now. You know, my job requires me to learn, coding right now during this time frame, because coding and technology is picking up. I'm going to learn something online. I'm going to get an online certificate, because here's what I'll tell you. Once you get that certificate, nobody can take it away from you. My mother always says that. She always says, once you got an education, nobody can take that away from you, because it's in here. If it's in your hands, somebody could take something from you and rob you and take it and steal it or whatever. But if it's in here, nobody can take it. Your passion, your knowledge, this is the time. This is the time. So you can take an online course for yourself, talking about professional and personal development. You can read books. Maybe you don't have an online course. Maybe it's a little bit expensive, or maybe you don't see one that you like. Why don't you go on Amazon or any other book retailer, buy 3 to 5 books on a topic you want to learn, and study. Dedicate 1 hour a day towards your personal and professional development. 1 hour. You get 24 hours in a day. You're telling me you can't dedicate 1 hour to you, right? Give me a little hands raised if you're agreeing with what I'm saying here, right? So this is your time. This is your season, and you have to seize that opportunity, and only you can do it. You have to write this story for yourself. Remember, I told you, Resume Tailor is all about writing the story of you. And that's what every newsletter and every post is about, you crafting your story. And the problem is, and I'll pause here and tell you this, the problem is many of us, when we were raised, when we grew up, when we socialized or whatever it was, we were told an incorrect story about ourselves that made us feel inadequate. A story that was told to us that we were not enough, or that we couldn't aspire to be more, or probably we didn't have anybody telling us any story, which I think is worse than somebody telling you something negative. If nobody tells you you're doing a good job, or that you can reach for the moon and land amongst the stars if you miss, right? So now is our time to rewrite that story, and you have to do it today. You have to do it now. Don't put this off. Right? If you start to have ideas right now, and I feel it. I feel there's someone here in this chat, someone here that has an idea that's been burning on their mind, that has an idea or a calling in their chest that there's something more for them in their life. This is the time to start writing it out. Write your vision and make it plain. So, back on track. Books, right? You can take online courses, you can take books, or you can do another route, right? You could just build your skills on YouTube. I had a friend of mine the other day said, I'm having trouble with Microsoft Office, Microsoft Office program. I don't know how to use it. I said, go on YouTube, go on Skillshare, type it in, learn how to use Microsoft PowerPoint. Learn. There's people teaching you free things. I teach free courses right now. And that's what I want to shift in, the value you give others. So now I'm talking to my businesses, right? My business owners, my entrepreneurs. If I have any business owners or people with business ideas, let me see you do the raise hand feature, because I want to know how many of you in here. If you have a business right now, or if you have a business in your heart and your mind, let me see you give that raise hand feature. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So oh, look at my screen. My screen's just filling up. It started on one side and it's going to the middle. So I know who I'm talking to here, right? So when we're looking at rebranding your business, think back. What is the brand of your business? What is your business known for? And think about the value you give others, the behaviors, the actions. What is your product known for? Don't tell me just about your product. Tell me how your product makes people feel. A cell phone, right, makes people, yeah, it's good for communication, but what does it mean to the consumer? It means that I can connect with my loved ones. I can socialize with my friends. I can pull up documents on the go so I feel prepared, right? The value of your product. And think now, because of the global pandemic, you have to, you can't run your business in the same way that you used to, right? Because your competitors are out there trying to take your business idea, or they're creating their own business idea that's going to compete with yours, right? So in order to survive during challenging times, you have to think of things in a different way. And here's what I noticed, right? The airline industry right now, and I've got this, I got some notes on it. The airline industry, I know right now on a global level, they're losing $30 million a day. Various airlines. Could you imagine $30 million? Imagine losing $30 million in your life. Imagine losing it in a year. Now imagine losing it in a day. So you have the airline industry is under crisis. And so think about it. And I know, I'm not saying that, we've got airline industry owners here, who knows, but think about this. If you're a business and you're under crisis, you can't just keep doing business the same way. I want to take you back for a couple of slides. Remember I talked about the Pareto principle? If I'm a business, if I'm an airline exec, it's not going to be helpful for me to keep sharing emails to my customers saying, I lowered flights, I lowered flight prices again, I lowered flight prices this week, because nobody wants to travel now. So if I'm in the airline industry, or if I'm in an industry under pressure, I have to be able to think in a new way. And here's what I want to show you. JetBlue Airways, I'm not sure, they have a couple of international flights, but JetBlue Airways at the time they had posted, and I caught it right as soon as they posted, so they have more than 4 likes. They wrote this on Instagram. They showed a beautiful, beautiful location in Costa Rica. And I said, oh my gosh, this is beautiful, but JetBlue, nobody's going to fly to Costa Rica right now because we're under quarantine. And then I realized what they were doing. They understood the words that I'm saying to you right now. They added value, right? So if you read that slide, it says, WFH, by the way, is a growing popular tag, stands for work from home, but they wrote wander from home. They said, add some Costa Rican chill to your week with a live meditation session. Pause right here. Pause everything right here. Why is an airline telling us to focus on meditation right now? That has nothing to do with flights. It does. Think about it. They know their value is providing desirable destinations. And they know right now they're thinking about their customer. Their customer is home. So what could their customer do from home besides, buy flights or ponder about flights they're probably not going to use right now? They said, we're going to take a picture of a location our flights go to. And what you could do as a customer is do meditation right in your house. You can meditate. And we partnered with Inscape, they said, right? And you can meditate from the comfort of your own home. Think about that. They're still adding value to their customer. They're not asking, this is the 80-20 rule. 80% of what they're giving out is value. And they're not expecting that 20% sale right now. They said, if you want to buy, great. But right now, we're going to give you value. So now you're thinking about them. Now you're thinking about the value that they add in a different way. So now you're engaging with the brand in a different way. If you're understanding what I'm saying, just use the raise hand feature, because I want to know if I'm making sense to you about how businesses can add value right now. Awesome. So you're on point with me. Great. Think about it. If you missed, this is the end of the post. It says, can't make it. If you can't make the meditation, check out our story for a free Costa Rican relaxation playlist. Now, if you like playing music, maybe you don't like meditating. If you like playing music, now you can think about Costa Rica and JetBlue Airways. Genius. So if you're a business owner or entrepreneur, I need you right now to look at a new way to offer value. If you have business ideas and no business, that is okay. Think about what is not being met. Think about the gap right now happening, okay? Think about new technology that you can launch. I'm going to use another example here. One of the charities that I'm close to and I've supported is Go Forefront. Now, let me give you a little background. They help villages in rural India advance in education, healthcare, access to clean water. They're a nonprofit that asks for money, for donations, okay? And so when I received an email from them and I said, okay, are they asking for donations? What donations do they want? This is a global pandemic. People don't have money. And it says, you're invited. Look at the value. They said, we know that we offer value to folks in rural India, and we know that you're a donator, a funder of ours. They said, look, we are excited to partner with Chef Rupen Rahul for a virtual Indian cooking class. Please register for the event here. They said, here's the details. In your home kitchen and on Zoom, you can tune in to a cooking class. They're not asking me for a donation, but read closely. It says, why? It says, have fun learning new recipes and receive a cookbook. They're even giving value, the 80-20 rule. They said your $25 ticket price includes a built-in $15 donation. So think about it. They're saying that, yes, we're asking you to buy it for a cooking class, but part of the proceeds goes back to the cause. So you're getting two bangs for your buck. You're getting to help people in need right now in the middle of a pandemic, and you're getting to learn how to cook cuisine that is on brand to their messaging. Let me see a raised hand if you understand how this Pareto principle, this 80-20 is going, right? Awesome. I see you there, right? So it's about adding value. How do you add value? How does your company add value? Here's a game changer tip. Write this down. If you're an employee of a business, I want you to think about ways that your company could add value. I want you to write down 3 ways, and then I want you to email the CEO your ideas. If you give me a raised hand, if you think that's going to be a game-changing tip. CEO, email the head of the company, the chief executive officer, 3 ideas that could add value to the business that you're in, the business that you work for. So think about that, right? There's ways to always add value. Here's my last example. DJ D Nice, I don't know if you guys know him. You'll let me know if you know him, but DJ D Nice, amazing. He's a DJ. He's thinking it's a pandemic. I can't go to any parties because all the parties and clubs are closed out. We're quarantined. So what did he do in his apartment, where this you can see right there? He set up his DJ station and went on Instagram Live. And he started doing music. And I'm not talking about for 1 hour he's playing music. He's playing for 5, 6, 7 hours. And let me tell you, when he did it, he had close to over 100,000 viewers at one time listening. Because who doesn't like a live DJ in their house playing? I even had him up on my computer playing music while I was doing some work. You see it on my page as well, right? So he added value as a DJ. And the reason why I'm giving you these different industries, right, is because I want you to think outside the box, because that's what everybody is doing. This is how you rebrand your business. This is how you rebrand your career. You have to start thinking of things in different ways. And by the way, D-Nice had former U.S. First Lady Michelle Obama was there. Oprah Winfrey was there. All these people from their homes right now are tuning in and signing in, right? So think about technology. I'm talking to now business owners and entrepreneurs and employees. Think about technology. I guarantee you that technology will continue to grow in the next couple of years. You will see this is the time where folks are working on new programs, right? And you can only work on the new programs if you took classes in it or took the courses, right? So you see how it's feeding in. So this is the time. Maybe think of new ways to reinvent new businesses, especially in healthcare, especially in the airline industry, especially with government structures, right? Especially with schools. Think about how you can use technology to your advantage, all right? So here's one of my ending quotes. I said, look, even the dinosaurs weren't strong enough to outlast and outbeat a worldwide crisis. The major worldwide crisis happened. An asteroid, a meteor, whatever, hit Earth, and all the dinosaurs, the strongest beast on the planet, completely faded away. We are in a time right now when we are facing a worldwide crisis. And I'm asking you, what are you going to do about it, right? You know, because we'll get the vaccine, we'll get the cure, we'll bounce back. But when we bounce back and society opens up, will you have a rebranded career? Will you be doing the same things that you were always doing and expecting a different result? You can't complain at the end of it that you didn't have the opportunities or chance. This is the time to make your bold move. I'm making bold moves. And so here's what the last thing I want you to do. I'm going to tell you this. Write this down. You should be taking pictures and writing notes. You have to identify, you have to adapt, and you have to act. Identify an opportunity that's present, or identify a challenge that we're all facing. Look at ways that your business or yourself can adapt to it, right? Because if you don't adapt, you'll fade away. You know, can you offer value? Can you learn a new skill and then completely act on it? Once you adapt, completely act. Don't be afraid to remodel your business. Don't be afraid to redesign your business plan. Don't be afraid to bring a partner on. Or if you don't have an idea, don't be afraid to support somebody that does have an idea. This is your time. The time is now for you. This is your time to move ahead, okay? And this is not only do I tell you this at Startup Grind, I tell you on my social media, I tell you on my website and the newsletters, this time is for you. And right now, I promise you, I have the next wave of business owners right here in the chat. I have the next wave of maybe a future world leaders in this chat right now, or a local leader or a community leader at any level, right, is in this chat right now. I feel it. I know it. We are the next generation. I see somebody raising their hand. They're claiming it right now. Claim it right now. Claim that this is your time. Claim that this is your time to succeed, to move past, to be the person maybe in your family, to get that degree or certificate, to be the new business that's going to emerge in the struggling economy. This is your time. You can either look at the obstacle or you can embrace the opportunity. Mayokin, I'm ready. Let's take some questions, man. Let's take some questions. Let's see. My guy Mayokin's here. Here we go.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Errol, for that presentation. It's so amazing what you've shared with us today. Talking about rebranding your career with confidence. Talking about giving value. I personally learned a lot about, giving 80% of your value to your customers. That's like, you have to be selfless in order for you to have a headway in life. So thank you for that. We have a couple of questions. I can see a question from Elton Kua. Okay, so I'm going to quickly read out that question to you. And
Sure.
it says, how do you get value to equate people paying you for the value you have to deliver? The JetBlue example is interesting, but if the business cannot sustain itself in long term, is there any way to convert value into customer who pays for their goodwill?
Oh, I think that's a really good question. Look, Elton, I appreciate that question, right? So in other words, you're saying, right now businesses need money, right? We want to give value to our customers, but we need money to stay open. And remember that Warren Buffett quote I said, when the tide goes out, you find out who was wearing shorts or not, right? Businesses now know. If businesses collapse now, right? Or emerging businesses now know that in the future, we need to stay prepared for things like this, right? The businesses that will last right now are the businesses that can hold out financially and sustain financially until society resumes, and it will start to resume, and offer value. I know that's hard. That's the reality of the landscape we're in, right? There's a lot of businesses that we will not see that, moving forward because they didn't have enough finances to stay afloat. But here's what I'm here to tell you, right? If you can stay afloat, if you can probably seek funding, your government might be providing funding, or maybe you might have to partner or merge your business with somebody else's, right? You have to adapt. You might be able to stand the test of times, right? Because tough times do not last. Tough people do. Tough businesses do. And it'd be tough. You have to be able to take a licking and keep on kicking. You have to be able to take some punches right now, take some hard times. Offer value during those hard times. Offer value because your customers will remember who was there for them during the hard times, right? So I don't know what your business is, Elton, but, there's always ways to reinvent, but you might have to think about restructuring. You might have to think about downsizing or merging with somebody else for now until you can stand out these tough times. But if you do survive, you have to remember, you have to build your finances up so a time like this cannot touch you again.
All right, thank you for that answer, Errol. We are having a stream of questions coming in. I'll quickly take this one from Caller. Caller says, how do we add extra value to our customers? And he said you wanted to mention 3 things to do.
How do we add value to our customers, right? So I'm assuming this question came in a little bit early than certain slides, right? But this is how you add value to customers. Number one, you have to know your customers. Don't know your product. Hold off on that. The first thing is, who are my customers? Don't tell me my customers are, for instance, let's say single parents. Don't tell me about that. Know your customers. Know what does your customer go through? What are their fears, especially during this time? What is their day-to-day life? What are their aspirations? What's important to them? And what's important to them now in this pandemic, this pressure? Once you get a clear picture of your customer, then you can say, how does your product or your service add value to them? It might not add value in the same way that it did before the pandemic. Remember, the pandemic is a passing time. So you have to restructure your model, your offerings to say, how can I take my business and meet the services, meet the value add for that customer? In other words, think about even like, let's say if I owned a tax business, right? If it's a tax preparer, you might say, how do I add value to my customer? Well, I might want to show them how to save money during these hard times. So I'll probably write up a newsletter and I'll send it to their homes or put it under their doors every week and say, here's how to save money by, the Resume Tailor tax services or whoever, right? Not a real business, but right. So, you think about ways to add value, but you cannot add value if you don't know who you're serving. So those are some ways. And, you have to be creative. You have to spend some time, spend the day brainstorming. Who are my customers? What's important to them? What fears do they have? And what are their aspirations? And then how does my product meet that? Maybe I need a new version of my product to meet it. So that's my answer to that question.
All right, thanks a lot. Wilson Olaya, it says, seems it's basically seed time for most businesses or business ideas. Is it wrong to think of only sowing at a time like this?
So it seems, okay. So the question is it, repeat the
Okay,
question for me, Mike. Okay.
Seems it's basically seed time for most businesses or business ideas. Is it wrong to think of only sowing at a time like this?
No, you know why? Because your business, I know it might seem selfish, but your business is its own entity, right? You created your business to survive. And I'm not, I think it's wrong. What I do think is wrong is for businesses to spend 80% of their efforts trying to get money out of their customers right now when their customers are, are struggling with money. I think that's wrong. It's not wrong to keep your business afloat. It's probably a little bit, it's wrong to spend most of your energy hitting them up for money. What you should do during these times, right, is look for the value. How could you add value for them? Because guys, remember, I'm not asking you to reshape your business for the next, 20, 30 years. I'm saying you have to adjust to the times. We're seeing so many businesses go out of, go out of business right now, but that is because they're not adjusting or they don't have the means to quickly adjust. You have to be agile. You have to be agile. So it's okay right now to, you want to use the Pareto principle. Spend 80% of your time. What value can I give my folks? And that 20% is maybe remind them that you do provide certain services.
Excellent. All right, so we'll take about 2 or 3 more questions and then we'll call it a day. Thank you so much, Errol Olton, for a wonderful presentation. Amadi Ebuka says, I think it's a very African kind of question. And it's like, how do we tackle customers who are in rural areas since they are not on social media?
Oh yeah, that's a great thing. Remember, social media is just a form of communication. If your business is dependent only on social media, what's going to happen when social media goes out? We've seen in the United States days when Instagram and Facebook and other social media outlets go out. We've seen when the power goes out, you can't use social media, right? So you have to have multiple ways to reach your customers. Whatever ways, if your customers are in rural areas right now, you have to think like them and you have to directly approach them. If I would, Amadi, if I were you, I would look and say, who are my customers again? What are they going through in those rural areas? And maybe I have to adapt, right? Remember I told you about that, right? You have to identify, adapt, act. Identify what's going on. Identify that they're in rural areas and they're not on social medias. Adapt, maybe print out newsletters, maybe print out motivational quotes or bring resources to them. Maybe there's masks that you could bring or certain resources and bring them to their doors and say, hey, I represent this business. Hey, I represent this business. Hey, I, know that you're going through a hard time, but here's some mask, here's some food, here's a resource, here's whatever, a tip sheet, whatever it is, put it in their hands. You have to get face-to-face with your customers. In my business, The Resume Tailor, I don't only do online. I go in classrooms and speak to children. I go to the coffee house. We have a Starbucks nearby, and I held a free resume workshop across 2 days, free. Didn't even charge them a dime. And I corrected people's resumes right on the spot, right? Because I offered value. And can I tell you something? Most of those folks signed up for my newsletter, and then some of them became customers later. They said, I remember you from the Starbucks event, from the coffee house event. I couldn't go, but I gave you my email. I'm so glad to hear, that, all the resources you're providing. I'd like to buy a package now. And that's weeks later, So find different ways to reach your customers. They'll come back if you have a good product, a good service, and you can find ways to support them with value. They'll come back to you. Thank you, Amadi.
Thank you. We'll be having the last question now, and it comes from Sam Semako Jinodu, who is our mentor, Startup Grind Jos, and also the last speaker during the last event which we had earlier in the week. And his question goes thus: how did you get into career coaching? And as a career coach, how do you add value in your own way?
Oh man, I have a great story for you and I'll keep it short, all right? I can tell you how the Resume Tailor really started, right? So remember I was creating community programs for my community in the Bronx. I was helping people get ahead in their workforce by providing free education programs for adults. And so I had already had that experience of providing career programs. And also on the side of this, I'm a former job recruiter, right? So I used to look at candidates and interview them. So I had these skills, okay? And so here's what I'll tell you, got started in career coaching. If you're an entrepreneur in this room, you're gonna love this story. Here we go. I'll tell you this. Let me just shift this. Yeah. So one day I was at work and somebody came to me and say, "Hey, Errol, do you do resumes?" I said, I think I was at work or somewhere. They said, "Do you do resumes?" I said, "No, I don't do resumes." This was years ago. I said, "I don't write resumes, but I offer a free education program with one of my partners that does resume writing." They said, "Okay, but how much would you charge to do my resume?" I said, nothing, because I don't do resumes. You know, they said, "Please, I would love for you, because of your background and your energy and how serious you take things, to work on my resume." And I said, "Okay, you know what? I would charge you," and I told them at the time, I said, "I would charge you $50. And it was a Monday. Listen to this. It was a Monday. They said $50. And I said, "Okay, $50. I'll charge you that, and I'll give it to you by Wednesday." They said, "If you give it to me by Friday, I'll pay you $100. I said, "You can't do math. You just doubled my time and doubled the money." And they said, "Well, I know you'll focus on it." And they must have known the brand of me before I knew it, the brand of yourself. And so what I ended up doing was I did their resume, I gave it to them, and I got $100. And then somebody else called me. "Hey, I heard you do resumes for $100. I said, "What?" And so next thing you know, I had clients coming in and paying me $100 for a resume. And I took all that money and I invested it with the government to open up and file for my business license. And so then I got more customers. And so I took that money and opened the website and paid for my website with it and ordered material. And so I started from the bottom on that level, okay? And so I took my background in career coaching and providing programs and my energy, and that's how I shaped the Resume Tailor, right? And so I built the Resume Tailor based off of the brand of me. And here's what I'll tell all entrepreneurs in the room. My passion is not in resume writing. My passion is in helping people. How I operate in my passion is the resume writing. That's how I take action from it. Or directing a nonprofit, which I've done, or creating community education programs. These are ways that I put my passion into action. And you can have more than one passion in life. You know, people tell you, "Oh, you know, you have to have, you can only have one passion." That's not true. If you can take your passion, whatever it is, and blend it with your job, your career, you're lucky, you're blessed, do that. But don't think that that's the only way. There's multiple ways. So that's how I started the Resume Tailor. I encourage everybody, I see a raised hand on that one. I encourage everybody, follow me on Instagram. My handles are up there. Follow me on, theresumetailor.com. You can get my next newsletter. I put some of the college courses that I was talking about and some of the books that I'm reading. I put that there, so many times. So feel free to follow that. I'm happy. I'm your career coach. I'm your career coach in the palm of your hand. So every time you turn on your phone, you see me and you see me offering value to you. I'm not giving 80%, 80-20. I'm giving you 95-5. I'm just flooding you with value. So, I'm happy to be here and happy to join Mayokin on that. Mayokin, you got the mute button on, Mayokin. Take the mute button.
Okay. Thanks for that. Thanks for calling my attention to that. Thank you so much for today, for this wonderful presentation, this wonderful workshop, this wonderful training. We've got so much value from it, and I want to say a very big thank you on behalf of Startup Grind Jos, Startup Grind Nigeria, Startup Grind Africa, on behalf of all the attendees who have taken our time to be here with us today. We say a very big thank you to you, Errol Olton, for sparing your time and your knowledge, to share with us today.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm happy. I made it to Nigeria and across the globe.
Yeah. You can say that again. And trust me, we are going to invite you again and again. Okay? So get ready for that.
Thank you.
So,
I'm happy to join you all again. Definitely. Go ahead.
Okay, so to our attendees, I want to say thank you for joining us today. Shegun Bamidele, Kola, Esel Genebziba, Daudu Prosper, Rhoda Amakapabo, Akon, Dorothy, Amadi Ebuka, Debo Adeoti, my brother, Elton Kwa, Eric Nale, Ezine Uzo EJ, Director Startup Grind, Abba, Gabriel James, J. Carlos, Margaret Yao, Sam Semako Jinodu, Shazi, Titi Lokpe Joel, Wilson Olaya. We sincerely appreciate you all for joining us today, and we look forward to having you again in our next event. Remember, the Startup Grind is a global community for entrepreneurs, and what we do is to bring amazing people to come and share their knowledge, their experience, and to give value. So till we come your way again, Errol, you have some parting words?
I do have some parting words. So I've got just 2 quick sets. I put my newsletter and Instagram handle in there. I would love for folks to follow me because I do most of my coaching there. But here's my parting words with you. Right now, I'm talking to you. Right now, I'm talking to you. You're in your house. You're probably at work. You're somewhere, but you're tuned in. The reason why you're tuned in is not really because of me. It's not really because of my Olton. It's because you have a belief in yourself. You have a belief that you are the next person, that you have something inside of you. I don't know what it is, but I've had that feeling too, where there's a calling for more. There's a beckoning that you're just to step into the next level of yourself. And I want you to know, the only thing holding you back, yes, we go through hardships, yes, we go through haters or naysayers or whatever, but the thing that's holding you back the most is the story you're telling yourself. Change the story. You are worthy. You have enough. You are enough. You are destined for more. This is your time, not tomorrow, not next week, not an hour from now, not 5 minutes from now, but now. That is why you're here. Seize that moment. It's not about me. Startup Grind is beautiful. It's a platform for us to bring this to your attention, but you're here for a reason. Own it. Take pride in it and walk forward in your career and your business with confidence. That's my words for you. Those are my words.
Thank you, Errol. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I like the way you do that. Can I see your hand up? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So everyone, that's been our event for today. Remember, you can follow us on social media at Startup Grind Jos, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then of course our website www.startupgrind.com/Jos. Till we'll come your way again. Bye-bye, everyone.
Take care, guys. Be safe. Be healthy. Take care.